It was a quiet Thursday morning. No wind, no birds, no sound except for the wheels of the van stopping in front of the nursing home. I held my purse tightly, like it was the last thing that still belonged to me. There was no one to say goodbye. My son said he had work. My granddaughter didn't even know I was leaving. The driver was kind, but he didn't know my name. The nurse who greeted me smiled politely. I smiled back. That's what we do when we're trying not to cry. I've lived a long life, but today, for the first time, it feels like I've been put away. I wonder if anyone will remember me here. The room smelled of bleach and clean linen. It was quiet too quiet. I placed my suitcase gently by the wall. It didn't make a sound. There was a window, closed. I sat on the edge of the bed. It creaked a little, like it wasn't used to company. I unpacked slowly. Just a few sweaters, some photos, and a letter I never sent. The picture of my husband, I placed it by the lamp. I whispered, "Well, we're here now." But it didn't answer, just like the rest of this place. Lunch was served at 12 sharp. I walked into the dining hall, unsure where to sit. Everyone looked down at their plates, at their hands, anywhere but at each other. The food was warm, but the room was cold. A man across from me had tears in his eyes. He wasn't crying, but he wasn't all right either. I took a bite of mashed potatoes. No taste. A staff member passed by and said, "Everything okay, honey?" I smiled. "Yes, thank you." That's what we say even when everything isn't. There's a second bed in my room. Clean sheets, tightly tucked corners. No wrinkles, no one sleeps there. Not yet. At night, I glance at it. I wonder who will come. Maybe a talkative lady, or someone quiet like me. I imagine the stories they'll carry, the faces they'll remember. I hope they'll want to talk, just a little, because silence is louder when you have no one to share it with. The hallway lights dimmed around 8 p.m. It was time for bed, they said. Like in school, I brushed my teeth, folded my cardigan, and climbed into bed slowly. The sheets were cold. I turned to the empty bed beside me, still untouched. I missed the sound of my husband's breathing, the weight of his presence beside me. The clock ticked louder in the quiet. I thought about calling someone, but who? And why now? My son has his life. My granddaughter is in college. They don't mean to forget me, but forgetting happens slowly, until it feels complete. I whispered, just in case someone was listening, "My name is Margaret." No one answered, but maybe, one day, someone will. The first day was a challenge, but I still have to live, even though I don't know when anyone will come by. The bed next to mine remains empty. It's strange how the quiet fills up every corner of this place, just like the emptiness in my heart. I wonder how long it will take for me to feel at home here. How long before I stop waiting for someone to come through that door. We eat together, but not a word is spoken. The meals taste empty, not because of the food, but because of the silence that surrounds us. We eat together, but there is no sound. The clink of forks and knives fills the air, but no one speaks. It's like we're all in a room full of people, but we're still so alone. I try to smile, but it feels like a mask. They don't know me, and I don't know them. We're strangers in a sea of silence. The food is warm, but it might as well be cardboard. The emptiness in this room, it's not the food, it's the people. It's the silence that says everything. I wonder if anyone else feels like I do, lost in a room full of people, yet completely alone. The sunshine feels warm, but the cold still lingers. It's as though I'm walking through a beautiful garden, but I can't seem to find the warmth. I see another woman, sitting alone, just like me. She looks peaceful, but I wonder if she's just hiding the same loneliness I feel. For the first time since I got here, I don't feel quite so alone. At least, I'm not the only one who understands what it feels like to be invisible. You look like you've got something on your mind. Do you care to talk about it? It's just ... I don't know how to fit in here. It's so quiet, so lonely. I didn't expect it to be like this. I understand. I've been here for a while. It's hard at first, but you get used to it. You'll find your rhythm. Just give it time. I hope so. I really do. I miss the days when life felt full. We all miss something. But that doesn't mean we can't still find joy in the moments we have left. For the first time in days, I felt like I wasn't speaking into an empty room. Edith's words felt like a bridge. Maybe there's hope for me here after all. I've spent so much time thinking about the silence, but now I see that not everyone is quiet. Some of them are talking, sharing memories, stories. Maybe this is what I've been waiting for, the chance to find someone who understands. Come sit with me, Margaret. It's better when we share the silence together. I don't need to fill the silence with words. Sometimes, just being here is enough. Some things can't be changed, but I still remember the days when everything was full of laughter. I will never forget them, no matter how life turns out. The past is gone, but it will never leave me. And maybe that's okay. Maybe it's what keeps me going. I don't know what the future holds, but I will try to live, not just to exist, but to feel each day as a gift. Margaret's eyes fluttered open, the soft morning light filtering through the curtains. For the first time in days, the silence didn't feel oppressive. She noticed the gentle rustle of leaves outside her window, the faint ticking of the clock on her nightstand. The world seemed different today, as if the quiet had shifted from a barrier to a canvas waiting to be filled. As she sat up in bed, Margaret realized that the silence wasn't as loud anymore. It was as if her ears had finally adjusted to this new frequency of life. She took a deep breath, feeling a small spark of hope ignite within her. Maybe, just maybe, she was beginning to find her way in this unfamiliar place. Later that morning, Margaret found herself in conversation with Edith, a fellow resident with kind eyes and a warm smile. Edith's words were like a gentle breeze, carrying away the weight of Margaret's worries. Fitting in isn't about coming home, Edith said softly. It's about making new moments right where you are. Margaret felt something loosen in her chest, a knot of anxiety slowly unraveling. As the days passed, Margaret began to notice the small joys that had been there all along. She took a peaceful walk in the garden, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face. For the first time, she truly saw the vibrant colors of the flowers, the friendly nods from the staff. It was as if a veil had been lifted, revealing a world of quiet beauty and connection. One afternoon, Margaret spotted the elderly man she had seen before. Gathering her courage, she approached him and shared her feelings of invisibility. To her surprise, he responded with his own struggles, his voice low and understanding. In that moment, a quiet but powerful connection formed between them. Margaret realized that even the smallest conversations could break through the silence, building bridges of understanding and companionship. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow across the room, Margaret found herself reflecting on her journey. The loss of her past life still ached, but it no longer overwhelmed her. She felt a sense of peace settling over her, like a soft blanket. The future, once a daunting unknown, now held the promise of new experiences and connections. Margaret stood by the window, watching the sky transform into a canvas of pinks and oranges. She felt a gentle stirring of hope in her heart, a readiness to take the next step in her journey. Each new day was a small step toward belonging, and she was finally ready to embrace it fully. As the last rays of sunlight faded, Margaret smiled to herself. She was no longer waiting for life to begin again. She was living it, right here and now, one quiet moment at a time. As the soft morning light filtered through the curtains, Margaret found herself noticing a subtle change in the air around her. The silence that once felt oppressive now held a gentle comfort, and the faces of those passing by seemed a little less distant. She couldn't quite put her finger on it, but something had shifted. It was in these quiet moments that Margaret began to realize the power of small gestures. A smile from the nurse bringing her morning tea, a gentle pat on the shoulder from another resident. These simple acts of kindness were slowly chipping away at the walls she had built around herself. Among the familiar faces, one stood out, Edith. What started as polite nods across the dining room had blossomed into something more. They found themselves sharing stories of their past, of families left behind, and dreams once held dear. In Edith's company, Margaret discovered a companion who understood the weight of memories and the ache of time's passage. As days turned to weeks, Margaret found herself settling into a new routine. Mornings in the garden, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face. Afternoons, spent in quiet conversation with other residents, each interaction a small thread weaving her into the fabric of this community. She began to look forward to these moments, no longer feeling like an outsider, but a part of something larger. It was during one of their afternoon chats that Margaret felt a dam within her begin to crack. Words she had held back for so long came tumbling out, fears of being forgotten, regrets of paths not taken, the raw pain of losing those she loved most. Edith listened, her presence a steady anchor in the storm of emotions. As the last words faded, Margaret felt a weight lift from her shoulders, replaced by a newfound strength. Looking out at the garden where she now spent so much of her time, Margaret reflected on how far she had come. This place, once so foreign and unwelcoming, had become a home of sorts. Not the home she had known for decades, filled with familiar creaks and shadows, but a new kind of belonging. She realized then that home wasn't about the walls around her, or the memories etched into them. It was about the connections she had formed, the quiet understanding shared in a glance, the comfort found in shared laughter. Margaret closed her eyes, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face and the gentle breeze carrying the scent of blooming flowers. For the first time in a long while, she felt at peace. Margaret's eyes fluttered open, a gentle calm settling over her as she gazed out the window. The familiar ache of loneliness had softened, replaced by a newfound appreciation for the present moment. She realized that it wasn't grand gestures that filled the emptiness, but the small connections that now peppered her days. As she sipped her morning tea, Margaret's thoughts drifted to Edith. Their friendship had blossomed, nurtured by shared stories and quiet moments. Edith's wisdom had become a beacon, guiding Margaret through the fog of uncertainty. Together, they found solace in the simple act of being present for one another. Later that morning, Margaret found herself in conversation with another resident she'd barely noticed before. At first, their words stumbled awkwardly between them, but as they spoke of aging and loss, a bridge of understanding formed. This small interaction, once overlooked, now felt like a victory, a step towards building a new life filled with meaning. As the afternoon sun warmed her face, Margaret allowed herself to reflect on her past. The weight of regrets and missed opportunities still lingered, but it no longer threatened to overwhelm her. She was learning to let go, to find closure in the chapters already written, and to embrace the blank pages that lay ahead. Margaret's gaze swept across the common room, noticing the small acts of kindness that now seemed to surround her. A gentle pat on the shoulder, a shared laugh over lunch. These moments, once insignificant, now formed the tapestry of her days. She was no longer an outsider looking in, but a thread woven into the fabric of this community. The realization dawned on her slowly, like the gradual brightening of the sky at dawn. Belonging wasn't about familiar places or old routines. It was about the connections forged in the present, the shared experiences that bound people together regardless of their pasts. As evening approached, Margaret settled into her favorite chair, a soft smile playing on her lips. The journey wasn't over, far from it, but for the first time in what felt like ages, hope flickered within her. She was no longer afraid of what tomorrow might bring. Margaret watched the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in soft hues of pink and gold. The silence that once felt oppressive now wrapped around her like a comforting blanket. She had found something precious here, not just a place to live out her days, but a gift of connection that made each day worth living. In the quiet of the evening, Margaret whispered a silent thank you to the universe, for second chances, for new beginnings, and for the beautiful discovery that it's never too late to find your place in the world. As night fell, she closed her eyes, feeling a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. Tomorrow was a new day, full of possibilities, and Margaret was finally ready to embrace it. As the soft morning light filters through the curtains, Margaret stirs, her eyes opening to a new day. The silence that once felt oppressive now wraps around her like a comforting blanket. She breathes deeply, feeling a sense of calm settle over her. The weight of her past still lingers, but it no longer threatens to crush her spirit. Margaret rises slowly, embracing the quiet routine she's created. She no longer searches for echoes of her old life, but instead finds solace in the gentle rhythm of her present. As she sips her morning tea, she realizes that it's okay not to have all the answers. The life she's creating now holds its own beauty. Later, Margaret finds herself sitting with Edith, her dear friend at the nursing home. Edith's kind eyes encourage Margaret to open up, and words she's held back for so long begin to flow. She speaks of her fears, her regrets, and the guilt that's haunted her for not being there when her family needed her most. Edith listens, her weathered hand resting gently on Margaret's arm. "I've known loss too," Edith says softly, "but I've learned that peace comes when we stop fighting against what we can't change." Margaret feels a flicker of understanding, a small light in the darkness she's carried for so long. In the quiet of her room, Margaret finds herself looking through old photographs. Each image is a window to her past, bittersweet memories flooding back. But as she traces the faces of her loved ones, something shifts within her. she realizes that while she cannot change what's happened, she can choose how to live today. The guilt that's weighed her down begins to lift, like mist dissipating in the morning sun. Margaret closes her eyes, taking a deep breath. She understands now that healing starts with forgiving herself. She hasn't been perfect, but she's done the best she could with what she knew at the time. As she lets go of the need for perfection, she feels a space opening up within her, a space for new possibilities, for healing. The days that follow bring a deeper connection with the other residents. Margaret finds herself joining in group activities, sharing stories, and rediscovering joy in the simplest moments. The nursing home, once a symbol of loss, has become a place where she can still experience warmth and companionship. As the sun sets, painting the sky in soft hues of pink and gold, Margaret stands by the window. She reflects on her journey, feeling lighter than she has in years. She's made peace with her past and embraced her present. Tomorrow is no longer a source of dread, but a canvas of possibility. Margaret watches the fading light, a gentle smile on her face, hope blooming in her heart for the future that awaits. As the soft light of dawn filters through the curtains, Margaret finds herself at a crossroads. She's no longer fighting against the tide of change, but learning to float with it. The realization washes over her like a gentle wave. Acceptance isn't surrender, it's embracing the present with open arms. In the quiet of her room, Margaret's thoughts drift to her conversation with Edith yesterday. "My dear," Edith had said, her eyes twinkling with wisdom. "Life's not about holding on tight, it's about letting go gracefully." Those words echo in Margaret's mind as she traces the lines on her hands, each one a story of joy and sorrow. Margaret reaches for the old photo album, her fingers trembling slightly. But as she opens it, something shifts. The faces of her children, frozen in time, no longer bring a flood of regret. Instead, she finds herself smiling at the memories, cherishing them like precious gems. In the hallway, a young nurse flashes Margaret a warm smile. It's a small gesture, but it lights up Margaret's world. She realizes that these tiny moments of connection are the threads that weave the tapestry of her new life. The friendly chatter during breakfast, the shared laughter during afternoon bingo, they're not just passing moments, they're the very essence of her days now. As Margaret joins the others for the morning's activities, she feels a sense of belonging wash over her. She's no longer an outsider looking in, but part of this vibrant community, sharing stories, offering a comforting touch, receiving support in return. It's in these simple exchanges that Margaret finds her place. The day winds down, and Margaret finds herself by the window, watching the sun paint the sky in hues of orange and pink. She reflects on her journey, marveling at how far she's come. The life she once clung to has slipped away, but in its place, she's found something unexpected: peace. Margaret takes a deep breath, feeling the warmth of acceptance spread through her chest. She's no longer searching for what was. Instead, she's embracing what is, finding beauty in the present moment. As the last rays of sunlight fade, Margaret smiles, ready to greet whatever tomorrow may bring with an open heart and a gentle spirit. As the soft morning light filters through the curtains, Margaret stirs, her eyes opening to a new day. But this morning feels different. The once familiar weight of loneliness has lifted, replaced by a gentle warmth that seems to radiate from within. She takes a deep breath, savoring the sense of belonging that's slowly blossoming in her heart. Across the room, Edith's kind eyes meet Margaret's. They share a knowing smile, a silent acknowledgement of how far they've come. "You know, Margaret," Edith begins, her voice soft and wise, "opening our hearts to others isn't always easy, but it's how we truly find our place in this world." Margaret nods, a realization dawning. "I'm starting to see that belonging isn't something handed to us." She muses, "It's something we create through our connections with others." As the days unfold, Margaret finds herself drawn into the vibrant tapestry of nursing home life. She joins in group exercises, her laughter mingling with others as they stretch and move together. Her hands, once idle, now busily craft alongside new friends. And in a small corner of the common room, Margaret's voice rises, leading a circle of residents in lively conversation. But it's in the sharing of stories that Margaret truly comes alive. Seated in a cozy circle, she unfolds the chapters of her life. Each memory shared is like a bridge, connecting her to the hearts around her. As she speaks, she sees understanding bloom in the eyes of her listeners, and in return, their stories wash over her like a soothing balm. Margaret no longer feels like an outsider looking in. She's become an integral thread in the fabric of this community, her presence enriching the lives of those around her. In the small, everyday moments, a shared joke at breakfast, a comforting touch during movie night, she finds a sense of purpose that fills her with quiet joy. As the sun begins to set, Margaret finds herself once again by the window, gazing out at the garden. But this time, the view is different. The flowers seem brighter, the birdsong sweeter. She closes her eyes, feeling the warmth of the community embracing her like a gentle hug. In this moment, Margaret knows she's found more than just a place to live. She's found a home, a family, a place where she truly belongs. The peace she's been searching for has finally settled in her heart, born from the power of connection and the healing embrace of community. As night falls, Margaret drifts off to sleep, her heart full and content. Tomorrow brings the promise of new connections, shared laughter, and the continued journey of belonging. In this place, surrounded by care and understanding, Margaret has discovered the true meaning of home. As the first light of dawn filters through the curtains, Margaret stirs, her eyes opening to a world that feels different. The weight that once pressed upon her chest has lifted, replaced by a gentle calm. She takes a deep breath, savoring the peace that now fills her room and her heart. Reflecting on her journey, Margaret marvels at how far she's come. The loneliness that once consumed her has faded, replaced by a sense of belonging she never thought possible. She smiles softly, grateful for the unexpected growth she's experienced within these walls. Later that morning, Margaret finds herself in Edith's company for one last conversation. Edith's words flow like a gentle stream, speaking of the beauty in letting go. "My dear," Edith says, her eyes twinkling, "true peace comes from within. It's not about finding answers, but accepting the journey." As Margaret listens, something shifts within her. She realizes that her past no longer defines her future. The burden she's carried for so long begins to dissolve, leaving room for acceptance and joy. Walking through the once quiet halls, Margaret notices how they've transformed. Laughter echoes, stories are shared, and memories are made. She's no longer just a resident. She's part of a community, woven into the fabric of daily life. Standing before her mirror, Margaret studies her reflection. The woman looking back at her has changed. Her eyes are brighter, her smile softer. She's grown stronger, kinder, more at peace with who she is. Margaret realizes that growth can happen in the most unexpected places, and she's embraced this new chapter with grace. In the garden, Margaret performs her final act of letting go. She releases a letter into the wind, watching as it dances away, carrying with it her past regrets and unfulfilled wishes. As it disappears from sight, Margaret feels a profound sense of freedom wash over her. As the day draws to a close, Margaret settles by the window, watching the sun paint the sky in hues of orange and pink. She feels content, truly present in this moment, no longer waiting for what was, but embracing what is. Margaret's journey has taught her that life isn't about finding all the answers. It's about accepting the path we're on, finding beauty in the unexpected turns, and allowing ourselves to grow. As she gazes out at the fading light, a soft smile plays on her lips. She's at peace, ready for whatever tomorrow may bring.